Hello friends, followers and channel members, welcome to another video here in Microsoft Flight Simulator, and what an amazing week it has been for those of us flying the FlyByWire A32NX. Not only have we had the release of their VNav systems in the experimental build earlier on this week, but we have now been treated to another huge improvement, and that is the latest operating system, OS 3, for their EFB FlyPad. In this video we're going to take a look at all the new features, and some of them really are absolute time savers here when you are a single pilot flying in the world of Microsoft Flight Simulator. Some fantastic new innovations that I'm going to take you through, and just generally a much cleaner look and interface with lots of exciting prospects to come. Now, this is currently available on their experimental build along with their new VNav systems released earlier on in the week. Not everything is currently working that is featured on the FlyPad, but it will of course all be working in due course. So let's go and have a look at the new FlyPad. So here we are in the FlyByWire flight deck, and let's go ahead and turn on the new EFB. In doing so, we'll see that not only have we got an EFB over here on the captain side, we've also got one over on the first officer side. They are both linked, however, so independent operation doesn't work. I don't know if that's ever going to be a planned feature, perhaps for shared cockpit. That would be quite nice, but for now they're just they're linked together, which obviously is good because it does save on frame weights and usage of your CPU. Let's have a look then. This is the page that we are initially presented with, so it looks very nice, all very ergonomic with everything laid out nice and easy for us to reference. Let's quickly go through the settings page to begin with. So we've got the aircraft options and pin programs. This is all pretty much exactly the same as we had previously, but in a new user-friendly kind of layout. Obviously we've got the thrust reduction and altitude, height, etc., engine out, acceleration height, different weight units, passenger signs, the baro, metric units, and the VHF spacing, all very self-explanatory. Let's just go back a page and see what else we've got. So in the sim options, again, default barometer unit, it's set to auto for myself, so if we're in America or whether in the Europe, it doesn't matter where we are, we're always going to have either hectopascals or millibars, etc. Syncing the Microsoft Flight Sim flight plan. Normally I don't use that, so we've got that set to load only. External McDo server port as well. If you're using that on a tablet, you can select which server port you want to use. 8380 is the default. I've not touched that, and it seems to be all working rather nicely for now. We can also now enable the McDo server connection, and it will deactivate after 5 minutes if there hasn't been a successful connection. There had been a point recently where having the external server running did actually help with performance degradation over time, even if you weren't using it. So it's advisable even to have that running for the moment, and I'm sure FlyByWire and the team will be looking into fixing that in due course. Dynamic registration decal. I've not seen this before, but I don't know if turning that on means then we can actually go ahead and change this on the aircraft settings page. If anyone does know how that works, or if it's implemented yet, please do let me know in the comments down below. Throttle detents, of course, we know how to calibrate those, and just as we update to this, I am going to check that it has still got all the settings saved, and indeed it has. So if you are using this aircraft not for the first time and you've already gone and calibrated, you won't need to go in and set it again. As you can see, they're working quite nicely with my previous settings. Use calculated ILS signals. Now, in some of the newer A320neos, you can have what's called a calculated ILS signal for runways that don't actually have an ILS in them. That's a whole different tutorial on its own, but it's nice to see that this is an option. I don't know whether this is actually working yet. I'm yet to put that to the test. Again, if anyone does know, please leave a comment down below. I'm going to leave that turned off for the moment. Let's come down and have a look at the realism options then. Of course, we're all familiar with these. The ADIRS align time, DMC self-test time. The boarding time I've got set to fast. We have then obviously got the ability to use our keyboard for McDo input. I've got that turned off as I use it on my tablet now. The separate tiller for rudder pedals, if you have rudder pedals, then you can perhaps turn this on. If you've got something else you can use to control the tiller. I haven't, so I've got that turned off. Cockpit mode then. This, if you have a home-built cockpit, then you will want to have this turned on. If you are just flying on a normal monitor, then you'll want that turned off. And that's all to do with the kind of light bleed you're getting through from the displays here. Obviously, if you've got these popped out in a home-built cockpit, then you'll want a different light bleed through compared to what we've got here by default in the sim. Data link transition time we've got set to fast. That's for using our ACAR's messaging service down here. If you send it to real, then that can take up to 2 or 3 minutes, which is realistic, but obviously on the VATSIM network I've just got that set to fast. And we've also got autofill checklists. Now I'm going to show you the checklists that have now been added to the EFB in a moment, but obviously as you go through and do your normal flows and setup, there is the option to get these automatically filled in if you are going to use those. Let's come down then and have a look at the ATSU and the AOC. Obviously we can select where we want our ATIS coming from. I use VATSIM, so that's coming from here. Metal source we get from Meteor Blue because that's what Microsoft Flight Simulator uses. The TAF we're getting from NOAA or ICAO if they are available. Telex is turned on, and the SimBrief username, etc., and Hoppy user ID. We can also automatically import the SimBrief data. Now I've not used this before, so I am going to have that turned on, and we'll see what happens when we link SimBrief in a moment. You've also got the ability to turn on error reporting, so if anything does go wrong, it sends an error report back to the FlyByWire team so they can quickly diagnose it, work out if there's a bug, and of course, as we know, fix it rather quickly, as the FlyByWire team are excellent at doing. Let's come back then and have a look at the audio page. On the audio page then, we have got the option to have the power transfer unit audible in the cockpit. A little bit unrealistic here in the 320. You've more chance of hearing it on the 318 or the 319. The exterior master volume, we can obviously set these different levels as and where we want them. I'm going to leave that set just to default. Around about a third of the way up. You can even go in and enter specific numbers if you see fit. Passenger ambience, yep, I'd like that. And passenger cabin announcements, I've got that turned off just because I use self-loading cargo, but of course if you don't, then you'll probably want that turned on to add a little bit more realism. We've also got the possibility of having boarding music again, which adds a nice touch. Coming down from the audio page then, let's go over to the FlyPad where you can set the different brightness, or we can have it set to auto brightness depending on what the ambient lighting is around the aircraft. I like now we've got an option of theme, so we've got blue, dark or light. So if you're flying in bright daylight like it is today outside, then having the light theme might be more beneficial. In fact, I might just leave it like that for the time being. Automatically show the on-screen keyboard, so that will be when we are wanting to enter some information into here, as opposed to using your actual computer keyboard. So we can turn that on if you wish. The time displayed, we've got UTC, but what I really like, particularly for you flying completely different areas all around the world, you can have UTC and local time, so that is really nice to see. One thing I did notice was just checking out the date here. It says Sunday the 26th of March. It's actually Saturday the 26th of March here, so not quite sure which calendar they're using at the moment. Local time format 24 hours, that's fine. And then show the status bar flight progress. Again, once you've imported your flight plan from SimBrief, you will then be able to track how far along the flight you are. So I'm going to leave that turned on because I like the idea of that, and show coloured raw meta as well. We'll leave that turned on too. Coming down then, we finally have the about, and that's obviously the FlyPad operating system 3, and look at all the various places around the world that the FlyByWire team has come together and developed this amazing piece of software. Let's go to the main page then. So let's import our SimBrief data. and it imports that, looking all very nice. There's our flight route. We've got average wind as well, which is nice. Zero fuel weight and cost index, everything brought in. We've got the weather from our departure and our arrival airport. I've also got the ability then just to pop it into raw data, so there we can see nice icons giving us the data, or we've just got raw data in case we want that as well. What I really like is we can also edit this, so we've got weather, pin chart, maintenance, checklists. So if you want to faff around with that, of course, you can just move these all around. If we scroll down, we can see we've got the different checklists. So cockpit preparation, but I'll come to that in sequence in a moment. So that is our home page. If we just go back a second, you can see I said the flight status. We can now track that. Obviously, you can see my aircraft is currently at the destination of Cancun, as that is where I am currently sat outside the new Cancun airport from Mako Simulations, to be released very soon. And we can see not only have we got it just here, we've also got it showing at the top as well. So if you're not on this main screen, you'll be able to see it quickly referenced at the top. Let's come down then onto the next page. Here is where we have the general overview of the specifications for the aircraft, and we've got our operational flight plan. What I like about this is it seems now much easier to read. It's bigger, it fills the screen out a lot more, so that's quite nice. Much easier to have in the flight deck, as opposed to perhaps having it on a separate screen somewhere. Nice to be able to reference and see this. Coming down then, we've got the ground crew page, so we can connect the jet bridge. As we can see, that is working. We can also call the fuel truck, and we can connect the external power, call the baggage trucks, and open, close the aft door, call the catering trucks. If we do that, I'm sure we'll be able to just quickly look out of the passenger windows and see, yeah, here they are. They're all coming. I can hear the cargo door opening at the front as well. There we go. So obviously all working as you would expect. So now let's move on to the calculator page. We've got a top of descent calculator, and we've got a landing performance calculator. I'll use the landing performance calculator if we've got poor weather at our destination, or if it's a runway that is perhaps a little bit shorter than the norm. But normally, if you've got a decent runway length, sort of anything over 2,200, 2,300 meters, then I probably wouldn't be looking at this, unless of course we got for some reason a strong tailwind to land in, or the weather was pretty poor. But I have used this on occasion. It seems to work very well. Navigation and charts then. I think this is still a work in progress, unless someone can let me know down in the comments below what I may be missing here. So the possibility to link to local files and Navigraph, I couldn't actually get the Navigraph charts to display just yet, so I'm not sure if that's something that still needs sort of linking up. Again, this may be just something I'm missing as I'm having a quick look through today. If that is working, then kudos to FlyByWire. If someone could let me know how we can link that up, that would be wonderful. If not, obviously work in progress, and I expect that will be operational very soon. What's going to be really nice as well is the ability to, once we've actually got the charts that we want, we'll be able to pin them and have them here for easy access. Something the old EFB didn't do too well, so I didn't really use it too much, but having this as a potential means that I can probably use this much more often. We've then got the radio page, of course, so if we are on VATSIM, all the online VATSIM frequencies will show when we can connect to the Hoppy cars as well, so that's all done. We then have the failures page. Now, in big yellow writing there at the top highlighted, full simulation of the failures below isn't yet guaranteed. So, leave you guys to go and have a play with those and see if you can break your aircraft. We can obviously go pop that into a compact mode, and you can see here the different failures. So we've got some electrical failures, we've got some hydraulic failures as well, and I'm certain more of these will be added in due course. Coming down then to the checklist page, and this is really nice to see and new. A lot of airlines now move over to electronic checklists. Obviously it saves paper, and we've got them all of the time in the flight deck, so we'll be able to go through, check the general cockpit prep, the before start, the after start, and these are based on real world checklists for the Airbus as well. So this isn't just something that FlyByWire have thrown together as a checklist for the simulator. These are based on real world Airbus checklists. So really nice to see that we've got these available to us. Now obviously when I'm flying, I've got an actual paper checklist in front of me. Would I consider perhaps using the electronic one here? Potentially, but what I would need to do is go through and see just how well this marries up with the official checklist that I have and use, and see how it compares with the specific SOPs for the airline who I replicate here in Microsoft Flight Simulator. But that's really really nice to see. Obviously for anyone that wants to use these, that is a huge bonus and will help make sure that everything is all working smoothly during your flights. Having a look then at this next page, we have got the potential to save a preset for the lighting. So perhaps if you want to set the lights just for the start of the flight, or if you want to set your lights for the taxi, set your lights for the takeoff roll, we're now able to quickly just load a preset once you've saved them. So rather than being stuck at the runway threshold and ATC saying, right, line up, cleared for immediate takeoff, suddenly we've got to go up here, we've got to turn on all the lights one by one. We could quickly just come over here and load a preset. But at the moment, this is one of the other pages that isn't fully operational. But it's great to see that the potential for this is there, because it's going to be really great, particularly, as I say, when you've got a high workload situation, such as turning onto the runway, or particularly after you've just landed and you've vacated the runway and you want to get all of the lights turned off. It'll be much easier to come over here just to quickly load one of those presets, rather than having to, whilst taxiing, be looking up at the overhead and turning all sorts of things off, potentially saving you lots of extra work when you're concentrating on where you're going. Now one of the pages that does work, and this is really neat, is the aircraft page. So whilst the lighting page preset isn't working, the aircraft page does seem to be. So here we've got 5 different presets that we can load. Obviously we've got cold and dark, turnaround, ready for pushback, ready for taxi, and ready for takeoff. Now the turnaround state is a huge thing, because obviously you've seen me start streams in the past and I say the aircraft is ready in a turnaround state. Well, that is because I had literally come in and set the flight deck up that way, all ready to go in a turnaround state. But now we can all just quickly go and press the turnaround button. So we're going to confirm that. And what it will do is it goes through every setup stage that needs to be done, and it tells you exactly what it is doing. So the aircraft is setting itself up now in a turnaround stage. There we can see battery 2 is coming on, external power is coming on, and you can hear perhaps everything just turning on in the background. And of course, if I just have a quick look over here, you'll see there is everything getting nice and ready, and the aircraft is going to be set up in its turnaround state. One of the things as well, you'll be able to load in on the runway if you're really short of time and just press the ready for takeoff, or even ready for taxi and ready for pushback. So that is a fantastic thing that the FlyByWire team have added. So really well done, and a big thanks goes to them for adding this onto their new electronic flight bag. So there we go, what a week it has been for the FlyByWire team. The A32NX seeing 2 huge updates this week, certainly starting with VNAV at the start of the week. Now we have the latest operating system, OS 3, for their FlyPad. Both are available in the experimental build of the A32NX, which can be downloaded using the FlyByWire installer from their website. I really can't praise the FlyByWire team enough for the amount of work that they do, remembering of course that all of this is freeware. It is completely free, and the level of detail that they're getting out of this aircraft is phenomenal. So please do give them a big thumbs up, and of course you can follow their progress on their Discord server. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope you have enjoyed this video. If you have, please don't forget to leave a like, and of course if you are new to the channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on that notifications bell to be notified of new content and live streams. Thanks very much everyone. I look forward to seeing you all again very soon. Bye bye for now.